welcome to the show. And how
Thank
are you
you.
this morning?
Wonderful, nice Diwali morning. The
Yes,
weather is good, and I'm happy to talk to you.
great. So my first question to you, Sukhdeepak, would be that today the entire world is actually going through this pandemic, which in last few days we have heard that the third wave has started across the globe, even in India, in some parts of India, the third wave is on. People have a lot of under stress. A lot of people, they have lost their job. Economically, they are devastated. Financially, they are devastated. So how do you as a coach suggest them to cope up with this kind of circumstances in their life, which we all know is temporary, but quantum they are suffering through is quite huge. So how do you suggest them to cope up with it as a coach?
Okay, so one of my fundamental teachings is that what you resist will persist. So
Right,
let us say that this situation is happening. It is a threat. It is a dangerous situation, and we are frightened. And if we resist this situation, we will never be able to make use of it.
all right,
Now, I'm a very firm believer in one thing, that all obstacles are actually opportunities in disguise.
right,
Right. So when there are difficult situations, if we are going to waste our time in, either burying our head in the sand like an ostrich, which
right,
many people are doing, they're just spending time watching television, doing this, doing that. Okay, fine. That
mhm,
helps them to de-stress, but that is like an ostrich. You're trying to avoid experiencing that situation. That
right,
is one thing which people do.
all right,
And the other thing that people do is resist it, fret and fume.
all
Now,
right,
both these things will not allow you to learn from this situation. I believe that every difficult situation is an opportunity. It has come to us to make us learn something
right,
and to open up new opportunities for us. Now, all of us experienced people would have seen this happening in our life. When we look back, we
right,
always say, oh, acha ho gaya, it happened like that because a new opening happened for me.
right,
So what I do with my participants is, one, teach them how to de-stress themselves. And the
right,
first step in de-stressing yourself is to stop resisting the situation. When you stop resisting it, you are experiencing it fully. It allows you to see what is possible now.
all right,
Because this is the time for reset. This
true,
is the time for each one of us to look at new possibilities. See, whatever way we've been operating is fine. There's
right,
an old saying, Atul, that says that if you don't change, then providence will force you to change.
absolutely, absolutely,
All right. So there are smart people who keep changing. They are ahead of the times. The rest of us sit on our laurels. We keep doing the same thing over and over again.
right,
And it keeps working. So, nothing really changes.
all right,
And instead of becoming great, you
right,
might remain good. So that's why they say good is the enemy of great. So this is the time for us to achieve greatness in our lives.
right. Sukhdeepak, one thing. See, I have been talking to people, who have lost their job or who are under financial, emotional stress. They say that people come, they talk, and then go. How do they do it? What actually in practical they should do right in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening? Yeah, it's how can we tell them? How do we explain them that this is what they should do? So that is one of the things, because they are completely engrossed with their problems.
That's right.
How did they come out? How do they come out?
See, you can't do, first of all, you need to do two things, You need,
Right,
so I give tools and techniques to people with
right,
which they come out of it,
G,
and they will come and report. I make sure, okay,
right,
that they
right,
come to me and tell me, okay, this is what I've achieved. And I
right,
keep working with them until they do so.
right, right,
Now, there are many tools. One tool is which I teach them is how to, instead of resisting a situation,
right.
experience that situation completely.
Okay.
See, I don't know if you've been an athlete or not in your life, but if you have been doing any kind of athletics,
Yeah.
you would have found that you sometimes get a muscular cramp. Now, when you get a muscular cramp, the more you try to fight with it, the worse it becomes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My coach used to tell me, "Isko anubhav karo, experience it.
All
It
right.
will disappear." So I used to find it hard to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But believe me, you're right. When you are having a cramp and you allow yourself to experience it, the pain will become excruciating to begin with, and
Right.
after some time it disappears. Now
Right.
that is the technology we will use that whatever situation is troubling you, instead of avoiding the feelings that are associated with it,
Right.
I say experience it out. Once you experience it out, you stop resisting it. And then your mind, see, just notice one thing, Atul, when a person is resisting something, he is in a particular kind of reality which is created by his mind
Right.
in response to the reality created in the world. Now, you know, and I know that not all people have lost in the COVID.
Right.
There is a huge organization which was in huge debt. They've come out of it during the COVID.
Yeah.
Now, what was the mindset that those people had? So the tools I give people is, okay, instead of wasting your time resisting, you train yourself to be more mindful. Okay?
Right.
You start looking at how your mind is interpreting that situation
Right.
and look for new opportunities. And I can share my own experience with you.
Ji.
See, like you know very well, I'm a corporate trainer, and most of my programs, 95% of my programs used to happen on only a face-to-face basis. Very comfortable. Companies will fly me, companies will board me and lodge me, they will arrange the accommodation, they will bring the participants, I will conduct my training and come away. A very comfortable way of doing business. All right. And I was doing very well for myself. I never found a lot of, last 5, 6, 7 years, people have been telling me, Deepak, you should do something online. I said, no, what's the need? Yeah. Basically, why I'm not used to it.
Right.
So when the COVID came,
Right.
I actually said, hello, instead of sitting and fretting about, bhai, kaam nahi aa raha hai, I said, okay, what can I do? I started actually re-looking at, hey, Deepak, what is it that you have to offer?
Ji.
See, everybody has something unique that he can offer.
Right. Right.
That's why he was doing his business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is why he was doing a job, because he's got something to offer.
Absolutely.
Now, the way it was being offered, in my case was I was going and doing face-to-face training.
Right.
In the case of others, it was being offered by a particular business that somebody might be doing,
Right.
or by some service he was providing to his company for which he was getting employed. But
Right.
then he was giving something, right?
True.
The value that he was giving to his company, the value he was giving through his own business to people, that capability, that value is still there in you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if you look at yourself, Atul, now you are a man from the media and what you have learned over years and years and years.
Yeah.
Nobody can take that away from you, right?
Absolutely.
How you're going to use that skill, how you're going to use your attitude, that's up to you, right?
Even
No COVID or no COVID.
I am also using it now here.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely.
So if people do not waste their time in avoiding,
Yeah. Yeah.
भाई अब you don't want to face anything, आप किसी चीज का सामना नहीं करना चाहते हो तो अवॉइड करोगे.
बिल्कुल.
You will think कि भाई 10 दिन का विपश्यना कर लिया, मुझे बड़ी peace मिल गई. So you got your peace and you come out of that peace, back again you are. So the trick is, how do you remain peaceful? How do you remain non-reactive? How do you keep your mind so aware and so creative
Yeah.
that you are looking now for new opportunities which you never saw before?
But at the same time, I think the conclusion is कि करना तो खुद को ही पड़ेगा.
Obviously, करना भी पड़ेगा, करवाना भी पड़ेगा.
करवाना भी पड़ेगा. So it's not कि you come out with something, yeah, somebody is telling me, but how do I do it? So ultimately, one has to change according to the circumstances and move ahead. That's what we are trying to.
And where coaches like me are very useful is we actually hold hands and make people do it.
Absolutely. I'll come to
because
that.
Every time, I'm sorry, what happens is people talk to me, like I'm right now coaching people from a multinational company.
Yeah.
They will make an action plan.
Right.
Everybody does. You make it, I make it, everybody does, right? Making an action plan is easy, but getting into action is not so easy.
Right. Right.
After you get into action, it's not like it's all honky-dory, right?
Right.
Obstacles will come, रुकावटें आएंगी.
बिल्कुल आएंगी.
How you deal with those obstacles? Sometimes you need the help of somebody like, people like me, who will talk to you and show you, okay, and you will discover for yourself.
Right. Right.
अब मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? करना तो आपको ही पड़ेगा. You'll have to do it.
So Deepak, can you define the journey of life in 3 lines?
Look, a long time back, somebody asked me, what is life? Okay.
Yeah.
and I gave a lot of answers, but none of them seemed to fit. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Finally, we hit upon one thing. Life is a series. Life is a series of experiences that follow one another. That's it.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the best way of living is live each moment
Right.
fully.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People don't live fully, na.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
वर्तमान में तो रहते ही नहीं. They don't live in the present.
correct, either past or future.
ठीक है. They are obsessed by what's going to happen tomorrow. बच्चों का क्या होगा? अरे what, you know, the first I used to think that people who have a lot of money and all, they must be very happy and worry free and stuff like that. But I found out that's not true either.
My next question was same. Without any emotions, psychology or diplomacy, if you could tell us what is success and what is happiness?
See, there is only one definition for failure. Okay. And that definition is a human being's inability to do what he wants. That is failure.
बिल्कुल.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And that is universally applicable. Whatever you want to do, whatever you intend to do, if you are unable to do that, you can call it failure.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, nobody has got a right to tell someone what is success. Success is whatever you choose to do in life and you being able to do that. That is success for you.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to go by the yardstick of others,
right.
Yardstick of what is the yardstick of others? We are all trying to measure up to the yardstick of others.
Right. Right.
That fellow's got a Maserati. That fellow's got a house in Nepean Sea Road.
Right.
Right? Because that's what he chose to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, Atul, I believe one thing, that whatever, I mean, I've talked to thousands of people in my life, and I go very deep and I probe, you know, ultimately, what does he want? What does a person want? He wants some love, right? He wants love and appreciation of his near and dear ones.
Right.
Right? He wants respect, and he wants to live a comfortable life, you know, so that the elements, you know, are in his control.
Right. Right.
What else does a man want? Now, you can choose, right?
Absolutely.
For you, a good life could be riding in a Mercedes. Well, good for you. That's your definition of your success.
Right.
But if you want a Mercedes because people say that you are going to be successful if you have a Mercedes, then you got it coming, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
and I'll tell you this, I want to share this with you,
yeah,
if I may be permitted to do so.
Please.
One day I was interviewing, you know, trainers. I wanted to hire some trainers.
Right.
So one very accomplished gentleman came from Kolkata. And he had some name also and everything. And I was talking to him. And at some point I asked him, I said, Mr. So-and-so, you don't seem to be very happy. You're such a successful man, but why are you not happy? He says, how do you know that? I said, your face tells me that.
Okay.
Okay. So I said, okay, what makes you? So when we started talking, you know what he was unhappy about? He was unhappy that his course mates and all, they are some CEOs of some company and this and that.
Right.
Right. And he is just a trainer. You understand?
Okay.
I said, are you getting it? I said, but did you want to be a successful trainer? He said, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Are you a successful trainer? Yes, I am.
Then what is?
I mean, I said, if you compare yourself with other trainers, are you earning, you know, at the top level? He said, of course.
Right.
I said, what are you getting unhappy for? I said, you chose this and you're successful at it. You are getting unhappy because your bloody course mate has become a CEO of a company and you did not.
Right. Right. Right.
So he's going to define happiness for you, is it?
True. Very true. So Deepak, tell me, you actually was in the corporate world before becoming a trainer and a coach. So why is this shift?
It's very interesting. You know, I was one of the most introverted people.
Okay.
I would avoid at any cost to stand in front of a group of people and talk.
Okay.
Okay. A friend of mine, he enrolled me into this program. Why did I enroll? I saw such a change in that fellow, you know. I said, yaar, agar Rajesh mein itna parivartan ho sakta hai, let me give it a shot and see ki ye hai kya. So I went out of curiosity.
Right.
See, Atul, I was a guy who from a very early age has been reading a lot.
Okay.
By the time I was 27 years old, I must have read some, you know, 1,000, 1,200 books.
Okay.
And a lot of them were about philosophy and self-growth and, you know, Dale Carnegie and I'm okay, you're okay, and every damn thing you can talk about.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I used to think I know everything. मेरे को क्या कोई सिखाने वाला है, you know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And for 3 days I have to go and sit there. I said, man, it's crazy. So I sat there for one first day resisting it like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I was doing sitting there was I know every damn thing.
Right.
By the third day, something clicked in my brain, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened. And suddenly, a pessimist turned into an optimist. A shy person became bold. You know, I stood up and started talking in front of 300 people.
Right.
It was almost like the whole weight of the world at the age of 27. I was very lucky,
Okay.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then something clicked in my brain and he said, hey, Sukhdeepak, if this kind of thing can do so much for people,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what I would like to do in my life. It was almost like I found my calling. कहते हैं, you know, people are lucky if they can find their calling. I found it and I've never looked back after that.
Now you have been there in the profession for 35 years. Now we see there is a huge number of life coaches, and the training centers and the universities are launching new courses in being life coach or a trainer. What I wonder is, there was a time in my childhood, I never heard a kind of person who's a trainer. Trainer was
Neither did I.
yeah, it was like a school teacher, a professor, but a personal trainer or a life coach we never heard of. So
That's right.
do you think this was needed just in the modern complex societies, or was it also needed previously, where we see a lot of successful people? 50 years before also there were a lot of successful businessmen and scientists and whatever. So when there were no life coaches, when there were no personal coaches or a corporate coach, were they not successful, these people? And what
Of course they were successful.
So what difference has it made now?
Look, I don't know what difference it is. I mean, it's too early for me to say what difference it has made now. I can tell you one thing.
Yeah.
There has always been a need for someone to guide you. If you remember, जब हम लोग छोटे होते थे, like in many families, they used to have a guruji who used to be there.
Absolutely.
You know, people used to believe in him and जाते थे. Okay? Or they would seek wisdom through the religious books. Or they would find a mentor. You know, in their own organization, somebody would mentor them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they would have a senior friend who was successful in life. And also don't forget one thing, in those days, a lot of parental guidance was also available for those who were lucky. Okay?
Ji, absolutely.
So kahin na kahin guidance milti thi. And when you were in a joint family, there were many people, uncles, aunties and all that. You were learning from them. You were learning from their role models, etc., etc.
Right.
Now, two things are happening. One, there is definitely a need. Like, you know, when we are young, have you ever heard of a mall?
No.
कोई mall नहीं होता था, right?
नहीं होता था.
Now there are so many malls that no mall is making any money. So, you know, the world is like this. When when I was in college, the trend was everybody wants to go to engineering college. All right?
Yeah.
And there was a time when engineers were not getting jobs because there were too many engineers.
Right.
Then there was a trend to become CA or whatever. So people blindly follow trends.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are trainers, there are coaches, there are good coaches. A lot of people are there because, oh, it's a huge, 2,000 crore market. Let me take a slice of that.
Correct.
When we started, we were only doing it because we loved to do it and we wanted to make a difference. Absolutely. We didn't even think about money.
Right.
So two parts of your question. One, is there a need? Yes, there is. People need someone outside of themselves to help them have another point of view. Because when somebody offers you another point of view, big changes happen.
Right.
I'll give you one example. This corporate guy that, his company commissioned me to coach him.
Mm-hmm.
And after the first session, he comes and tells me, Malvai sir, I think mere paise, company ke paise wasool ho gaya. I said, what happened? He said, sir, something I've been avoiding to do for 6 months. I went and did that. And because of which I got something which they are not giving to me till now. So I said, what happened?
Yeah.
What did I tell you? He said, sir, you told me to be unreasonable. So I said, all right. I also said, okay. He said, sir, you explained to me what is an unreasonable man.
Mm-hmm.
So what I had explained to him was, an unreasonable man is not willing to accept any reason why something cannot be done.
All right.
And that clicked in his bloody brain, you know. He had lot of reasons in his own mind why he was not asking for something, why he was not talking to somebody,
Right.
you know, why he was not addressing certain issues, because he was being reasonable. He was accepting his own reasons. For example, कोई फायदा नहीं है उससे बात करने का, he is not going to listen. अरे यार, how do you know that? So what happens when a good coach is there? He allows you to see something which you might not have seen. You may be knowing it. No, there is research, Atul, which says more than 80% of people use less than 10% of their knowledge. But the knowledge is so much, but they use only this much. So this is what I tell people.
Because of their own reasonings, they are limited to that.
Whatever. So I always say, listen here, guys. First of all, I'm not arrogant to say that I can teach anybody anything. I said everybody knows everything. I may open up something that you will start using what you already know.
Absolutely.
Even if you use 10% more of what you already know, your life will change. Yeah? If you start looking at your life differently, your life will change. So all these coaches, they do this. Right. Good ones at least.
Yeah. So now tell me one thing, because a lot of youth, they are looking into coaching and training as their careers. Just 3 things they should possess to become a good coach or a trainer.
If you are choosing to have it as a career, before you have had any experience in your life, what kind of a coach are you going to be?
But I see a lot of courses after graduation, they are doing it, or even universities are running them big time.
I know. See, what is going to happen? Tell me something. You would not become a coach. Okay?
Yeah.
People want to become trainers. People think that by, getting some, what they call as material, which you remember,
right,
and then you make a nice slide presentation, and your presentation skills are good.
Yeah.
See, there is a need for that kind of training also.
Right. Yeah.
Right, because there is a lot of skills training happening in this country. People need to be trained in skills.
Right.
That's a different kind of training. There's a huge scope for that.
Yes. Training, I understand, but there are renowned universities who are making mentors and coaches after graduation.
They can make coaches, not mentors. So there's a difference between a mentor and a coach.
All right.
See, Atul, you can be a mentor to somebody who wants to get into the media business. Why? Because you know the media business. Yeah. You can coach anyone from any business if you are a coach.
Right.
To be a mentor, you should have done that. You should be an expert in that.
Let me put my question in the other way. What an individual or an organization should look into a coach or a mentor to hire him or her?
They have to look for his ability to establish relationship. They should look at how much empathy that person has.
Right.
Okay. How willing is he to make a contribution? See, saying that I want to make a contribution and actually making a contribution are 2 different things. All right. Now, depending on what kind of coaching you wish to have your people take, I would say always choose a person who's got some experience in the industry. Okay. So suppose somebody has never done an iota of work in his life. He's not done a business. He's not worked in an organization, right?
Yeah.
He will not really be able to empathize with what people are going through in their jobs.
Right.
Okay. For him, it's only a theory. No? That's the difference between an academician, talking in his classroom and a trainer conducting a training. You follow? So you look for a person who's been through life, who's experienced ups and downs in life. Yeah. He will naturally have compassion and empathy because, he's not being arrogant or anything like that. I mean, this is a question to organizations looking for. But I want to say something to the youth, if I may.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that they want to become trainers or whatever.
Right.
See, I have been on interview selection panels and all. And one thing, what we have noticed, and we've been noticing for quite some time now, is the youngsters are more interested in what they can get out of it. Mujhe kya milega? All right.
Exactly.
They don't seem to have too much of empathy, understanding, ke, hello, I'm going to get something for what I have to offer. So even when we ask them a blunt question, boss, you are expecting to do a job with us.
Mm-hmm.
What can you give to us? What do you have to offer? And they look pretty blank about the whole damn thing.
Absolutely.
If I'm sitting here today and talking, and if you are sitting there and talking,
Yeah.
we are talking because we have something that we can offer to people,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And whatever we are offering to people, they'll be willing to pay for that.
True.
They are not willing to pay for my degrees and diplomas. I mean,
जी,
you
जी,
understand?
absolutely, absolutely.
That is only an indicator कि भाई ये कुछ कर सकता है.
लगता है. How
So
relevant?
add value.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, please continue, sir.
So what I'm saying to them is focus on what value can you offer to people. That is more important. People will pay you if you are giving some value to them. And if you have nothing to offer,
Mm-hmm.
how can you expect money for that?
So I will ask for two relevances here. One is from Gita, कर्म किए जा फल की चिंता मत कर, और दूसरा from Father of the Nation, कि कोई एक गाल पे थप्पड़ मारता है तो दूसरा आगे कर दो. How relevant they are in today's context?
Can you ask the first question again?
One was from Gita. Bhagavad Gita says,
फल की चिंता मत करो.
जी, जी, जी.
See, I think many people don't get it.
Right.
फल की चिंता मत करो doesn't mean that you are not interested in the result. What it means, according to me, is once your goal is very clear,
जी.
then to achieve that goal, you would have made certain action steps.
Right.
That means you have to do monthly, weekly, daily actions. Once you made your goal, उसके बारे में सोचना छोड़ दो.
Okay.
Then focus your attention 100% on doing those actions which are required to make you reach the goal. At that moment, don't think about your goal. क्योंकि you have made your steps already. जो कार्य करने हैं आपको
जी.
उस लक्ष्य को प्राप्त करने के लिए उन कार्यों पर फोकस करो.
All right. True.
That's what it means. Now coming to what Father of the Nation said.
Yeah.
Do you know that the Father of the Nation was not a weak person?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, he was
Right?
not.
I'm not talking about the physical strength. I'm talking about the spiritual strength.
Absolutely.
So it requires a lot of strength, to not react in a situation. See, if somebody slaps me, automatically without thinking, I'm going to probably slap him back. Even a weak person will do that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the biggest cowards and weak persons are the ones who do maximum murders. It takes a strong person.
Absolutely.
That if somebody slaps you, you don't react and you hold his hand and you tell him, okay, look here, my friend,
Yeah.
I can also slap you back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go down that tunnel? You think that aggression is going to solve this problem? I am also equally capable of doing that aggression.
Mm-hmm.
But is that aggression going to make things worse for both you and me?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to make it better for you and me? Think it over. Then we both of us will decide what is good for the two of us.
Absolutely.
And not only for the two of us, for the world at large.
Right.
That is strength. I think people didn't understand the Mahatma.
So Deepak, tell me one thing. We have personal coaches and also we have life coaches where the attention of the coach is only onto a individual. What is the difference between two?
Life coach is a personal coach only, na?
Yeah, that is the same thing.
He's coaching an individual.
Yeah,
So there are two kinds of coaches. One is a coach or a trainer who will do group coaching.
Right.
They can call it training also if you like. Right? He works in groups.
Correct.
And one person works on the individual level. So there are business coaches who will do only business coaching.
Yeah.
On business related matters. A life coach will do life coaching on life matters, which includes everything. Yeah. See, when I do business coaching, I'm actually being more like a life coach because I will help him in every area of his life. Because I believe that if anything is happening in any area of your life, it's going to impact your results anyway.
In the end, I would like you to actually share with us an event while you were coaching, doing a coaching for a corporate, where something happened which you still remember today, which turned your life.
Which turned my life while I was conducting the training.
Yes. Any kind of characters which you actually come across, in the corporate world where, you remember them forever.
I remember so many things and so many people.
Yeah.
I always remember, and because it happens very frequently, is that, a lot of these very, very corporate guys and, senior people,
Yeah.
You do a program and they've been really shaken up so much. They come and actually virtually out of 20 people, 10 people come and touch your feet.
Uh-huh.
That is something I can remember. There's another one which very recently happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was conducting a training program and the CEO was also sitting there. A lot of the senior people were there and a couple of, not so senior people were there.
Yeah.
And there was this youngster who was asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Ji.
And I was peacefully answering him. Because I know for sure that, if one person is asking and if I answer him, 6 other guys will get clear, the people who don't speak,
Absolutely.
Fine, I was unflappable. He was asking me some tough questions. I said, fine, no problem. Answer was given. We had a lunch break after that.
Okay.
So the CEO comes to me and he says, Malvai Saab, should I shut this guy up?
Uh-huh.
I said, why?
Uh-huh.
I said, why? No, I think he's trying to act smart. He's wasting everybody's time.
Right.
I said, sir, let me be the judge of that. No? I'm training these people.
Right.
You know? If I have to shut him up, I'm quite capable of shutting anybody up. Even if you speak out of turn, I will shut you up also. So he smiled and he said, I didn't mean, I just thought, sir, it's not right. You are, such a senior person and so experienced. And this fellow is like, I said, you really honestly tell me, do you think he's wasting time? I think so, sir. He's just trying to act smart. I said, consider that if these questions are really answered, won't they be relevant answers? He said, yes. I said, so forget about that. So I went on. Towards the end of the lunch, 3-4 people came and said to me, sir, वो क्या बोल रहे थे आपको? MD साहब, sorry, CEO साहब. तो मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं, ऐसे कह रहे थे कि उस लड़के को चुप कराएं. तो सर वो ऐसे ही बोलेंगे. मैंने कहा क्यों? He said, sir, he is one fellow who cannot hear no from anyone.
Right.
Everybody has to agree to everything that he says. So because that boy was questioning you, he couldn't take it because उनके सामने कोई question पूछ ही नहीं सकता है.
All right. Yeah.
This was a very useful information I got, later on when I was coaching that guy, at some point he was able to realize that he's doing this. Because he had told me, Malvai, I can't understand, I have an open door policy. Why do my HODs never walk into my room and talk to me? So he wanted people to open up with him because it's very useful if people open up with you as if you're a leader. Na?
Correct. Absolutely.
But people were so scared of him and he's wondering why. So I told him, now you want to know why? He says, yeah, tell me. I said, why do you think? I said, that what you came and asked me in the lunch break that day, do you remember? He says, yeah. I said, that is why. So he started thinking, that is why. And he said, oh, yeah. I get very irritated if anybody disagrees with me.
Right. So big realization for him.
Yeah, and without being told, you understand? I was just pointing him in different directions.
Right.
See, there is always a gap, Atul, between what people want and what they have, right?
Right.
And they don't have what they want because they are not doing the right actions. You want people to respect you, but you're doing actions which will make people not respect you. Absolutely. You want to be a successful guy, but your habits are that you're a very lazy bum, you don't want to work.
I think, so Deepak, this happens for a lot of people. People are afraid of them entering their cabins and talking to them directly. Although they want the people to come to them, but there is some action which actually, make them some kind of afraid of that person or something like that, unknowingly actually. That person
unknowingly, actually. Yeah. Some of these people told me कि सर आपको पता है हम उसके cabin में जाते हैं तो हमको कैसे देखता है? ऐसे करके देखता है हमको. तो हम तो डर जाते हैं.
Right.
So this was an unconscious behavior Porchak was having, no?
जी बिल्कुल, absolutely.
You're such a kind, loving soul, शायराना आदमी, गाने गाता है प्यार भरे, So fellow fond of romantic songs and all. How can he be a person who is intimidating? But people were getting intimidating by him. How do you like that?
Thank you very much, Deepak. I think we have a lot of things to take away from these talks, and our viewers and especially the people who wants to enter this profession will gain out of it. And thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Atulji. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure.
And to everybody who's out there, all my regards and a happy Diwali to everybody.
Thank you.